Hello, viewers, and welcome to this very important lecture on hydrobiology. I'm Dr. Gijo Harry. What is hydrobiology? Hydrobiology basically is a study of aquatic organisms, their life processes, their interrelationship with one another and with their environment. It also includes fields such as ecology, taxonomy, and physiology, and is closely related to some disciplines such as limnology and marine biology. So hydrobiology is very vast, and it is very applicable in areas such as water purification, fisheries, and environmental protection. So hydrobiology is very vast and applicable in many fields. Now let us look at the principles of aquatic biology, or the principles of hydrobiology, with reference to limnology. Limnology basically refers to the study of freshwater bodies such as lakes, ponds, pools, and rivers. So what are the core principles of hydrobiology in relation to limnology? We are going to look at this in three perspectives. First, influence of abiotic factors, how abiotic factors affect the environment and the living organisms in these aquatic ecosystems. And we are going to look at ecological interactions that occur in these freshwater bodies and how the ecosystem functions and balances itself. First, let us look at the influence of abiotic factors. Now, the abiotic factors, or the non-living components of the aquatic habitats, fundamentally shapes the types of organisms that can survive there. So basically, these abiotic factors affect the kind of organisms that can be found in a particular habitat. So we're going to look at the abiotic factors in these various areas. First, the properties of water, then we will look at sunlight and nutrient concentrations, as well as temperature and density. First, the water properties. What properties of water actually affect the living organisms in the freshwater bodies? Water has a very unique property that helps it to support life of aquatic organisms. One of such properties is its high specific heat capacity, and this helps it to stabilize temperatures in the water, and its strong cohesive and adhesive forces allow water to move through plants. So the properties of water, such as the specific heat capacity and the cohesive and adhesive forces of water, are very vital for survival of life in water. One other abiotic factor that affects living organisms in water is sunlight. The availability of sunlight drives photosynthesis and determines the depth at which plant and algal life can thrive, creating distinct light zones. So we have, based on the ability of living organisms to adapt to various light intensities, the ecological zones of the lake or pond or any freshwater body have been divided into the photic zone, which is permanently or most times exposed to sunlight, and we have the aphotic zone, especially in the benthic region, where light hardly gets to. One other principle of hydrobiology, abiotic factor, we want to look at is nutrient concentration. The availability of nutrients in the water body is a very important feature that affects the survival of living organisms, especially photosynthetic organisms. These organisms make use of nitrogen, phosphorus, and sulfur, or nitrates, phosphates, and sulfates to drive their systems. So these nutrients are very essential for the survival of plants, and they control the productivity of aquatic ecosystem. Low nutrient levels can lead to low productivity or low biological productivity, and that is said to be oligotrophic situation or condition, while extreme nutrient availability can result in eutrophic situation or eutrophication. So basically, eutrophication is a phenomenon where there is too much nutrient in an aquatic ecosystem, which results in the algal bloom or proliferation of algae and other photosynthetic organisms. One other feature we want to look at is temperature and density of water. Water temperature affects metabolism of living organisms. It affects how living organisms are able to carry out metabolism, and also affects the concentration of dissolved oxygen and carbon dioxide. So the temperature of water is very important in determining which organisms are able to survive, and it also affects the temperature also affects density. The warmer the temperature, the less dense the water is. Okay, so you have the lesser water at the top, and then followed by the colder water forming the metalimnion, and then the hypolimnion being more dense, more cooler, is at the bottom. So now let us look at one other principle of hydrobiology, which is ecological interactions. Aquatic organisms are structured by complex interactions between organisms in their environment. So first we want to look at the trophic levels and food webs. The energy that's driving the aquatic ecosystem is actually moved through the trophic levels. At the primary trophic level, or the primary producers basically are the phytoplankton. Now the phytoplankton are the producers, and they are being consumed by the primary consumers, which are the zooplanktons. The zooplanktons are in turn being fed on by the secondary consumers, which could be small fish, followed by larger fish, which are the tertiary consumers. Then the decomposers, especially when any of these, the phytoplanktons, zooplanktons, or fish, when any of these ones die, they are being decomposed by the decomposers. One other ecological interaction we want to look at is competition and predation. The abundance and diversity of species are affected by competition for resources like food and habitat, as well as by predation. So that's one very important ecological interaction that occurs in aquatic ecosystem. One other ecological interaction is adaptation. Aquatic organisms possess unique adaptations to survive in their specific habitats, such as adapting to high flow environments in rivers or low oxygen conditions in bogs. So basically they are able to adapt to these environments. Now let's look at the third principle of aquatic biology or hydrobiology, which is ecosystem function and balance. Aquatic ecosystems perform essential functions that are critical to the survival of wildlife and even human populations. One of the ecosystem functions is nutrient cycling. The aquatic ecosystem plays very important role in the cycling of nutrients, especially when microorganisms and other biota they play a very significant role in the self-purification process of this aquatic ecosystem. Nutrient cycling is very crucial to ensure the healthy state of the freshwater ecosystem and even in the marine environment. Then one other feature I want to look at is self-maintenance. Many aquatic ecosystems have natural mechanisms for self-purification and maintaining a stable environment. One other ecological interaction, or one other factor I want to look at basically, is the human impact, how humans affect these aquatic ecosystems. Understanding the dynamics of these systems helps us to manage the negative impacts of human activities such as pollution, habitat alteration, and the introduction of invasive species. So humans actually have adverse effects on the ecosystem. So having a knowledge of how we affect these ecosystems will help us to decide how we manage or how we prevent pollution and habitat alteration, or whether or not to introduce an invasive species. So basically that's what we want to learn about the basic principles of hydrobiology. Thanks a lot for watching. I am Dr. Gijo Harry. Please watch more of my videos from my YouTube channel, and please don't forget to subscribe and share my videos and like my videos as well. Thanks a lot.